let's start the podcast.
Hi.
I'm Greg Pettit. Hi. Welcome to Reality Wrestling.
Hello.
I'm here with Denzel Washington,
Hello.
Alec Baldwin, and Steve Buscemi.
Oh, come on. Come on, dude. It's fucked up. I was like, what's he going to say? Steve Buscemi. Right.
You look like Steve Buscemi a little bit. If anyone here, if any of us were to be compared,
I don't have the Lil Wayne eyes.
but if any of us were to be compared, you have a similar
vibe.
This is racist somehow.
Cameron, Mr.
Robbie
Pink
didden
Pugach.
dispute Alec Baldwin, and Damien
Excuse
definitely didn't
me.
dispute
Excuse
Denzel.
me.
Because those are fucking. Come on.
Are they what?
You did shoot a guy or a girl.
It was by accident.
I'll take it.
All right, well, we're here to discuss part 2 of
That was an
Colonia
accident.
Dignidad, the sequel,
Uncle.
the Standiga Uncle sequel, and
Steve Buscemi?
and it's gonna be fun. And Steve Buscemi's upset,
Bruh.
but he's gonna have a lot to say this whole episode.
Maybe like a young Steve Buscemi.
Steve
You like
Buscemi,
Mr. Pink Steve Buscemi?
Yeah.
the way he is at this current moment.
I feel the same way he does about tipping.
I changed my mind. Shoot this motherfucker, will you?
All right, relax, Alec.
Yeah, he was right.
He is right.
I want my lawyer.
And my fake Spanish wife.
Hilaria.
He's a Long Island ass motherfucker.
Yeah,
man.
so is
He
Steve
is.
Buscemi. He went to Nassau Community College for a
man.
semester.
Wow, dropout.
Yeah.
Steve Bush.
We're really not so different.
He was mostly a city boy, I think. But anyway, we're gonna talk to you about stuff today, and I hope you enjoy it. And I think I've said what I need to say, and I've characterized my friends. So if you guys want, if Damien wants to take it away, Denzel wants to take it away, feel free to.
He did play
take the
Randall
reins.
in Monsters Inc. That was a good character.
All right.
Yeah.
Who, Alec
that's true.
Baldwin?
No,
No,
Steve Buscemi. He's the star of Boardwalk Empire. You
Really,
know,
he was Randall. I didn't think
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Makes
And
sense.
Boardwalk
I can
Empire.
hear it now, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I gotta rewatch that. It's been a long time.
such a good movie.
It's been a
Great
minute.
movie.
It's been a minute. But yes.
Put that thing back where it came from. Also help me.
That's what they said to Alec Baldwin.
And, and the Nazis.
And the Nazis, which is what we're talking about today.
We're going to get sued by Disney.
And Alec.
And Alec.
He's gonna come knock on the
Excuse
door.
me. Excuse me.
He's a hometown boy, dude. Like you can't do that to us.
My wife, Hilaria.
But
I
yes,
was in Beetlejuice. Did you know that?
you seen my movies?
What's Beetlejuice
Juice.
even about?
It's about
Spooky guy, right? I haven't seen it.
Is it like the spooky Edward Scissorhands kind of thing?
it's about a fucking demon named
I don't know.
Beetlejuice.
Let's get on with the fucking episode.
It's Dat Nazi December.
oh my god. Das Nazi
Das-
December.
yeah. You gotta tie this one up.
Dascember.
It's just Dascember.
That's pretty good.
Love that. Good.
So we're here for
Cameron.
Dascember.
Good work,
Before the
Alec.
episode starts,
And we got some Vicks.
why don't you tell us about the pedophile?
Oh, the pedophile? Cameron the pedophile?
Cameron the pedophile.
The bed pedophile? He's so pissed. First Steve Buscemi. Now you bring up our group chat.
Being fucking attacked. Shut up.
You know why? Do you know why I'm bringing it up? Do you know why I'm bringing it up? Because no one gave me credit for coming up with the word pedophile.
I
it was
thought
perfect.
about that. I thought about it.
It was perfect.
I didn't even do a like.
Son of a
It's true.
bitches.
It's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to expand on that anymore. You can just imagine.
I can only imagine what goes
Moving
on.
We'll leave it to their imagination what it means.
Find a new slant.
Because even if you think about what it means, like even if you think you know what it means, you'll never figure it out. And it's all Cameron's fault because he came up with it.
Subscribe to our Patreon.
Cameron likes young mattresses. The youngest.
Fresh.
You can't have a bed older than 5.
If that tags off, I'm not interested.
Yeah, he's over, dude.
He bounces on it. There's not a single sound.
There's a perpetual wine glass just sitting there. To make,
so
once that
funny.
thing spills, I know the mattress is too old.
That's right.
It's like Leo with his girlfriends.
Oh shit!
All right.
Welcome
Welcome.
to the reality resin.
We're talking about philic people, philiacs.
I got way too high before this episode. So you're in for a treat.
It's okay, Dad.
We're talking about philiacs.
We're talking about celiac disease.
We're talking about bedophiliacs.
Philiac word?
'Cause, I mean, Schaefer was pretty much a bedophiliac as well.
He was a pedophile.
He was.
He wasn't a pedophile, or he might have been. He might have
Who
liked
knows?
new
I mean,
mattresses.
who
Maybe
knows?
that's how he drew him in. I got this new bed.
I have this new mattress.
It's very nice.
The mattress is new.
Un silis, yeah. That's a mattress store.
Uncle has a new bed.
Uncle has a new pair of shoes.
What's the famous bed store?
Mattress firm.
Bob's
No,
Furniture?
the other
Bob's
one.
Furniture?
Yeah.
Tempur-Pedic.
No,
Purple.
store. It was like
It
it was on.
Sleepies?
It was like Sleepies.
Sleepies.
Oh.
What'd you say? Sillies?
It's
Sillies.
Sillies.
Sealies?
Yeah, I think that's another one.
Sleepies.
Sleepies, man.
This
That
is
guy
now a
freaked me
mattress
out.
brand podcast.
I always thought it was Luigi
He just
From Mario
freaked
and
me out. I just
Luigi.
didn't like that guy. Is
when I was a kid.
that like a Long Island thing? Sleepies? Or is that like
It's a
across the
front
world?
for a drug operation.
Probably. I think it's gone now, right? I haven't seen
People
Sleepies
buy
is
their
gone
beds
all the
online
time.
now in tubes.
Bob's is definitely fucking loaded.
I just got a couch from Bob's.
Definitely rich as fuck.
Bob's taking over.
Bob is.
He might not even be alive anymore. He's just claymation.
I gotta Google.
Is Bob still alive, or are they
I
just
haven't
like
seen it,
claim?
actually.
I haven't seen his face in forever.
Bobby.
Maybe that's why they went to the claymation. He got sick or something.
Bobby Furniture.
It's Bob. Where are you, Bob?
Bob Kaufman.
You
So,
can't
yeah.
see him, but you can see that his furniture is at
Well-
such low prices.
I don't think he's dead. I don't see anything about it. But anyway, let's get on with this fucking episode.
Back to the show.
Fucking
This isn't like a
Steve Buscemi's
Salino and
obs-
Barnes situation. One of
don't
them
know.
got into a fucking plane crash.
Yeah.
Some
it was-
happened.
I think it's just Salino now.
I think he killed his partner.
All right.
Yeah, he had an insurance claim on him.
I'll drop it.
I think that's what happened.
Like the plane did out of the sky.
That's right.
He needed
Damn.
Barnes out of the picture.
All right. Well, anyway, what do you got, Damien? What's on your mind?
I got pedophiles in my mind.
Pedophiles.
We need to move on.
But
We need to move on.
yes, we're here to pick off where we left off last time. I think the last thing we talked about really was overall Paul Schaefer, Operation Condor, Operation Paperclip. We gave you some historical context of how someone like that could exist. And, we gave you the specifics of the colony and, his methods of control. So now we're just going to pretty much wrap up his story, Paul Schaefer, as a person, and go a little bit further into the impacts he's had on society, or at least the historical precedent that was set with him and the lessons that we can possibly learn from what happened there. And we'll also talk a little bit more about the heady stuff, the esoteric stuff.
The heady stuff.
Yes, because these guys believed in some weird ass shit,
A
Supernatural
lot of
Nazis.
mystical stuff.
A lot of mystical stuff. But first, we wanted to do more or less wrap everything up, but also do justice to the people that we're discussing today as well. As we're trying to be entertaining, we also want to be somewhat informative and be respectful to the people that lost their lives, people that did survive and are still dealing with the repercussions of that today. So we thought it would be remiss to not at least mention the modern impacts, the present day impacts, what people are dealing with today.
Not to mention, I think we should be extra respectful because this is still an ongoing situation. where,
Absolutely.
Like the German government is still being sued by the victims.
Yes, that is correct. That is
That's
correct.
right. I forgot.
Yeah, this is it's still happening.
Yeah, it's still happening. People are still looking for their families. People are still petitioning the government for reparations, which, I guess a little spoiler, are capped out at 10,000. So that gives you a little idea of
Dollars?
$10,000.
Okay, American dollars.
I mean, probably euros, but I don't know. I would imagine. I think
They use euros over there.
Germany.
Oh, in Germany.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was.
No. We're talking.
They're suing the German government. That makes more sense.
yes, and they're in their complicity with it. And this is information.
I don't know
we
why I
got from,
asked American dollars.
The only
I
thing
mean-
I know. I mean, it's the global reserve currency.
Like
You know,
francs? What are they
Is it
paying?
francs?
those aren't even around anymore.
They use
uh,
hot dogs for
Deutschmarks.
Deutschmarks. Oh my god. but yes, you know, and like Cam said, this is an ongoing thing, and you know,
What's our man's name? The lawyer.
Steve Buscemi?
No,
I'm just kidding.
the lawyer. that's suing him.
Winfried Hempel.
Winfried Hempel, the
Yes.
South American German.
yes, he is one of the
From
prominent
parts
lawyers.
unknown.
From parts unknown. Yes, he's been fighting for a lot, pretty much one of the few, if not only, fighting for the justice for many of the survivors. But you know, we'll definitely talk a little bit more about that a little bit. Just realistically wanted to, I guess, continue where we left off with Paul Schaefer and who he was, and you know, his ultimate demise, which I can even honestly, that's not even the right way to put it. I would say, you know, we talked about the beginnings of it in 1961, you know, and its history going from 60s all the way up into the 90s. I would say through all the crazy shit that happened through the Pinochet regime, I would say their publicity, or at least their image, went pretty much unscathed. You know, they had, in 1996 was really the year where a lot of, I guess, the downfall, so to speak, you could say, happened for Colonia Dignidad, or more particular, Paul Schaefer. He had this, and this is coming from the Bruce Falconer article in the American Scholar, Torture Colony, where he talks about in 1996 he had a intensive care program, and it was pretty much it was like a boarding school, pretty much, and there would be select kids that would be chosen to live at the colony until they were 18 years old. And
So he was at the colony the entire time. He didn't like leave and come back.
no,
He was there until it ended.
yeah, pretty much. Well, no. He was there until, you know, he realized that he needed to get the fuck out of Dodge.
So until it was about to end.
Till it was about to end,
Okay,
you
when
know.
he saw the writing on the wall, that's when he dipped.
Yeah, and you know, it's not really ended. People are still living there. It's just not under his rule of thumb anymore. But it still very much exists, and those people are
The
still
compound exists and like the community exists.
absolutely.
How? Wait, really? I thought it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it was.
They probably just picked a new leader.
No, it's like a tourist spot now, right?
It's a tourist spot.
Oh.
Exactly.
No, but there's not people still living under like an iron fist though. Like,
No, but they're still living on that land.
Oh, that's what I meant.
It's like,
I thought you meant like this was still happening.
Oh, no,
I was
no,
like,
no.
how?
Yeah,
No,
that's
no.
what I thought you meant.
Fucking
No,
crazy.
yeah.
It's 2023.
Definitely misspoke there. They it's what was happening under Paul Schaefer is not happening anymore. But
I mean, it is.
That we know of.
that we know of.
Yeah.
I think it's like a Bavarian little fucking tourist spot.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, it's like a little German hangout. kind of
literally.
thing. Like you can
Little
go in
shop.
there and have like
Little
fucking.
shop of Nazis.
Yeah, exactly. No, but you know, it's like a little fun place to go, which is so weird if you
so
think about
weird.
it. It's like, what? Why not just bulldoze the whole fucking place?
Yeah, like burn it to the ground.
Are you kidding
brother.
me?
But then again, you know, there are people that are still living there and that really don't have, that wouldn't go anywhere else. I think it was in the DW documentary. This is a German documentarian website channel. Not really sure what you would call it. And they did mention something along those lines. But I would say I would say for the most part though, someone like Paul Schaefer and the colony and as it stood, and where it was in 1996, it was still the same thing. Like he was still molesting children. It might have not been as, I guess, prolific in terms of like the political repression by the late or mid 90s, as Pinochet was no longer in power. But by that time, like I did say, there was this attempt by him to have this kind of like boarding school program. And obviously, like we talked about last episode, when he did anything like this, there was always someone who would accuse him of fucking touching their kids. And the same thing happened where it was a kid, Cristobal, bear with me one moment, Cristobal Paraf. I'm definitely mispronouncing that. I do apologize, but he sent a letter to his mom. He smuggled a letter to his mom stating like he was molested and that he needed to be saved, and his mom somehow fucking managed to get him out of there and confirmed with the doctor that he'd been raped, and they had escaped to the capital of Chile itself, to Santiago, and from there, that's when things started to get rolling, so to speak, where they got in contact with one of the, I guess, the state. No, I guess like it's pretty much like an FBI, so to speak. And what they call it was the National Detectives Agency or something. What would be along the lines of that?
Like an international hotline.
Yeah.
Like their investigation bureau.
Yeah, investigation bureau. Exactly. Yeah. For lack of a. Thank you for clarifying that. But yeah, that's pretty much when everything started to, I guess, go south for Paul Schaefer. That was when a warrant was initially actually requested in 1996, and that was when he initially disappeared. Now, as Cam did mention, this is, people are still today still trying to are still reeling from the effects of that. And while he did technically disappear in 1996, he didn't die, and he wasn't found or arrested until 2005.
And he couldn't walk at that point, right?
He couldn't really walk at that point by the time they found him in Argentina.
He was basically just an invalid.
Exactly.
It seems like this is what happens to a lot of those guys. Like Mengele, same thing kind of happened to him, where he kind of, up until I think right towards the end, I think he died of natural causes. But he died of natural causes in the sense that towards the end he had so much anxiety about getting caught. But before that, for decades, he was just meandering around, going from country to country once the spot got too hot. And he even, the names that he would choose for himself were just pretty much his name. He wasn't even trying to hide in particular. And for the longest time, they just thought he was dead.
He didn't really need to hide in many cases.
He grew old.
Yeah. It's some Nazis you hear that about, like Otto Skorzeny and stuff, where they kind of knew where they were, but they never really bothered to arrest them or apprehend them in any capacity. So it's definitely
too much resources. Probably.
Too much resources, and then also it's just he's one of our guys.
Yeah.
He's one of ours. He helped us out a
line.
The thin blue line. Exactly. But even as we do talk about the downfall of Paul Schaefer, I do think it's important to at least remind people of the scope of Colonia Dignidad as itself. It started out as a 4,000 acre colony, and then wound up being a 32,000 acre colony. And I think we also talked about it last time. They had gravel mills, they had factories, they had schools. They were a full blown colony. They had communication systems. This wasn't just some random village. And like we were just talking about, there are people still there today, who are living their lives, who are living pretty much under the thumb of the old families that were under Schaefer. the closest
That's fucking
confidants.
wild.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things have changed,
but less rape.
less rape.
Less rape.
But now, while the wealth was always controlled at the top, it's still that point. You're just not like, I guess, a complete like close to almost chattel slave. And I would say, overall, while it's not as much pedophilia going on, their lives aren't that much better, because once again, a lot of the wealth that they have produced and helped produce is not really in their hands, and where that productive force is going is not really up to them.
So they're still using the infrastructure that was in place to like do whatever they're doing now with it.
Exactly. They're still coasting off that infrastructure that was built through the 60s and the 70s, so to speak.
Who do they use beside, like, if there's really that many, if there's that much infrastructure on a 32,000 acre plot of land, there's no way they just used the people of the colony to build that stuff, or they had to like get outside help, right?
Yeah, and I think we also talked about it a little bit last time too, was that, since not a lot of kids were born there, where did he get all the kids to rape? Where did he get all the laborers?
The Amazon. He got them from Amazon.
And literally, he would get them from the countryside of Chile, people who are destitute, people who are running away from the political repression and death squads of the Pinochet regime, and they get picked up in the countryside, and they're poor, they're completely destitute, they're probably lacking any sort of medicine, they may need medical help. They bring you to this place with a hospital that has everything you can need for free.
They say some of them would even like sell their kids,
and some yeah definitely, but a lot of times, once again, they're probably kidnapped and also picked up from also the people thrown in there from the political repression itself. Right. I think we were mentioned last time in it was Chile's 9/11 was the coup. Salvador Allende killed himself as opposed to being killed in a coup. And the preceding months after that, at least 45,000 people were at least arrested. This was September 11th, once again. It was 1978. I could be incorrect about that. I think it was 1978. Either 73 or 78. It's totally escaping me. And but within the end of the year, it was at least 1,500 people killed. So you can only imagine over the next 10 years how many people were sent to Colonia Dignidad. They were probably used for forced labor, for torture, for information on dissidents or any other like leftist like fellow travelers, so to speak. But because there was no children born there, or barely any, they really had to go outside and get they had to outsource that labor. They had to outsource a lot of that stuff. And many times the Chilean population suffered for that. And like we did talk about earlier, even though Paul Schaefer was arrested in 2008 and, so to speak, everything has been settled, people are still looking for their family members who have been disappeared.
I just realized, too, if this was a whole community kind of self-contained city, they have the hospital, they have everything. That means they're also maintaining the records. And you're not going to be including into the records indigenous children that you're using for either sexual pleasure or forced labor.
Exactly.
Just omit that. And the surrounding country and their government probably didn't have the best records kept at that time, especially for, like, I don't want to say remote indigenous people, but this isn't like a cityscape exactly. This isn't suburbia.
Exactly.
Probably next to no records on these people.
Definitely.
So there's probably a countless amount.
Yeah, exactly.
Victims that aren't even.
And then there are, records that may or may not exist. A lot of times, if they do exist, they're in Chile, in Santiago.
And also the people that even after this all came to light, there's still people trying to cover their ass. So
Yes.
even government could have, or people in the government could have erased records that would have just pulled them into this when they just wanted to have nothing to do with it. They just wanted to just purely benefit from it.
Like even, when they started to actually raid Paul Schaefer's compound in 1996, and, according to the Bruce Falconer article, they at least raided it at least about 30 times in the next few years looking for him.
It reminds me of Madrigal in Breaking Bad, the German company that was the big umbrella overseeing Pollos Hermanos and all those other companies.
Yes.
Remember when the episode started at the Madrigal headquarters in Germany, and the guy killed himself in the bathroom with what's the machine called that jolts your heart with electricity?
The defibrillator.
Yeah, defibrillator.
Oh, wow. I totally forgot about that shit. That's crazy. Damn, you just made me realize I need to watch that show again.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's have a Breaking Bad. When you have your baby, we can watch Breaking Bad. And, give our opinions. It's been like 10 years since it's been over, right? More, maybe more.
And then in 2013.
I watched it like 3 times already, but it's time for a 4th.
Yeah, I watched it 4, so 5 is coming up. I'm gonna get some water real quick. I'll be right back. You guys can keep going.
All right. But yeah. Shit, I forgot my place. Well, that'll be cut out, but
Standiger uncle.
Standiger uncle, yeah. Are you getting up too?
I'm just standing.
Oh, okay. So I guess it just be cut.
Brought to you by stretching. Stretching. It's important, folks. Especially when you get to our age, which is almost 30.
Oh.
That's when you're about to have a baby.
Having a baby.
I'm having a baby.
Shit, dude. It's like, we got like 3 days. Shit. This shit's crazy.
Damn, son. She's being induced in 3 days.
Yeah, I don't know. It might take a little bit longer. I don't know how long inductions take.
Yeah. Shit, man.
This dude just gets up in the middle of a show and starts playing guitar.
Break cut up, man.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, at this point, this is just gonna be cut till I guess when he comes back.
Cut it. Cut it all. Cut it all out.
I definitely deserve a hit of that. I mean, for that, of this, for that or this or that.
You could get with this, or you could get with that. You could get with this, or you could get with that. You could get with this, or you could get with that. You could get with this, because this is where it's at. Is that a Kia commercial?
Might have been.
Yeah.
Those are the hamsters.
Yeah. The fucking Kia hamsters. Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out the Kia
sponsors.
hamsters.
We're-
Milkshake probably the worst thing to do before a podcast. Oh yeah, coat your throat with fucking dairy.
That whole thing I ate was the worst thing to do, because now I'm sleepy. I shouldn't have ate.
Always the conundrum. If you don't eat, then you're too fucked up. You
I
eat too
am a
much.
lineman for the county. And I drive the main road. Searching in the sun for another overload.
So, Damien, have you started the final draft? Alan Wake 2?
I have not started the final draft. I honestly really want to start it again, though.
Dude.
I'm really thinking about
I
it.
haven't gotten to anything different yet.
Nah.
Apparently
Oh,
there's
you
a
have
whole
it.
new ending.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Apparently there's like little differences like in the cutscenes and stuff. Like apparently in the intro there's like a difference. Apparently it's not like huge, but like there's
In the intro, there's a difference.
yeah.
It starts out with him. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
It starts out with him with the bullet hole in his head.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Like Harry Potter kind of situation.
Yeah. You should play it, Cam.
I think you'd like it, Cam.
It looks scary.
It's scary.
Looks creepy.
It depends on what scares you.
You gotta play it in the dark.
Know what it is? Once I get a new computer, I will start playing those kinds of games again.
That game is really
But
intensive.
as it stands,
It's intense because the enemies move really fast at some points.
Yeah, but it also is pretty hardware intensive too. Now that I think about it.
what do you mean?
Like it's really taxing on the CPU.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have like an i5. And I need you more than want you.
Yeah, I play it on console, so
And I
Which still looks amazing.
it does.
Looks,
But the ray tracing isn't as good.
Yeah, I watched a video of like the tech stuff.
Isn't it all
and,
dark?
Yeah, but there's light shining through the trees. It's basically at twilight.
That's
for most
exactly
of the
what you
game.
want ray tracing for, right?
Yeah, we'll see. A lot of it, some of it is baked in ray tracing too, from what I understand.
Right.
Like it's rasterized, but they also bake in some stuff that's like ray traced. Sometimes it's like
So it's not ray traced, but it has the illusion of ray
Kind
tracing.
of.
kind yeah. Like I'm not smart enough to describe it, but it's like it's not fake ray tracing. It's like it's like accurately, simulated lighting, but it's not for every single thing in the game. It's for like a particular part of a scene that they want to like accentuate, but it's not like every single thing has a ray trace shadow, because that would be intense. Even for console,
We're not there yet.
we're not
Did
there
a good
yet.
job with the shadows, though.
Yeah, we're not there yet. But yeah, it's a really, really beautiful game, even in the daytime. And clearly, my Remedy, they're fans of Twin Peaks, so
Yep.
especially, it's crazy because I think I talked about this with you. Like when Alan Wake 2 was in its initial phases, it was called The Return,
Right.
and Twin Peaks season 3 came out as The Return. But season 3 came out like years after Alan Wake 2 was even conceived, and like the idea of The Return was even conceived. So it was like they were kind of in sync on like what their ideas were for like the sequel or the next iteration for their series.
His novel was still called The Return in the game,
And
though.
it's called The Return.
Yeah.
Yes. They obviously like Twin Peaks. But yeah, and the whole doppelganger thing with Alan Wake and Mr. Scratch, Dale Cooper,
yeah, and
Mr.
Cooper.
C.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, I just spoiled that. My bad.
I spoiled it for myself a little bit ago.
Okay.
I had to read
yeah, it's
because to be honest,
Don't say anything. Greg hasn't seen it.
what?
What?
I'm not going to say
What?
anything, but the second season is a little tough to get through.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
So I had to read forward.
Have something to
Because-
look forward to.
I heard
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
I heard the third season is like sick.
Yeah, it's fucking
Art house.
sublime. Yeah, it's sublime, bro.
So
Sundance
I gotta
Film
get to that.
Festival.
yeah,
12-minute standing ovation. You ever hear that when it's like, this film got a 28-minute standing ovation at Sundance, and like you just imagine people like, woo!
So wait, so there's
Yeah.
a film or it's
Fire Walk with Me. Yeah, is the film.
and then
Then
so the third season's after the film.
yes, yeah.
So this is Twin Peaks. I'm
The
gathering.
movie's
Yes.
before everything.
I have just
Yeah.
returned.
The movie's before everything.
The movie's
Yeah.
a prequel.
Oh,
But you're supposed to watch in a release order, though. You're supposed to
Wait,
watch
wait,
the
wait.
show and then Fire Walk with Me.
Fire Walk with Me, Twin Peaks movie that you're supposed to watch
It takes
after
place-
season 2,
It takes place
Yes.
when Laura is alive.
Yeah, it's when Laura's alive.
and I guess it's different actors, right?
No.
No. It's all.
They're all
Or
older
sounds like a
looking.
bad-
Well, no,
is,
this
when's it
no,
made?
no. Fire Walk with Me was released soon
Oh, yeah.
after
yeah.
season 2.
Okay, good.
It was
I gonna
supposed to
say,
be season 3.
They're all like older looking and it's like newer. I'd be
No,
like,
no.
Nah.
No, there's none of that.
Season 3, they're older looking because it's
Oh, yeah.
25
But
years
it's
later.
it's actually 25.
right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
25 years. 25 years.
What's that little guy's name again? Do we ever find out?
Do we know his name? No.
I don't think they really say what his
No,
name
we
is.
know
He's just
Bob.
he's just the little ghost
The
dwarf
little ghost dwarf.
We know
who
Mike.
speaks in backwards speak.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. They
The
show him
little
like
bastard.
first. I think it was first episode or second episode where they show that.
It
dream.
was like the
No, it's the
third-
6th episode.
Okay.
no, but like,
6th episode of
It's
the.
when Coop's in the lodge.
Yes,
But
the
like-
first time he goes into the lodge is the 6th episode.
Oh.
I mean, but he's at the hotel. I mean, he's at the Great Northern Hotel.
yeah. Yeah, shit is fucking. Mwah.
And then the first time you see the guy standing over him was season 2, I believe.
The fireman.
Yes. What is considered season 2? Yeah, I guess that's true. But now the Greg's back.
Standiger uncle.
Ständiger uncle. You remember what I was talking about? I think,
Talking about the compounds, the infrastructure. I was
yes.
talking about the records, and then you were talking about, and then I was like, maybe the government erased the records too, because they just didn't. South American government, or even the German government, erased any records they had of any involvement, because it just was like easier for them to do that than to.
Yes. And I would say it was only 2016 when they publicly Germany specifically publicly acknowledged any wrongdoing. As I think we talked about it last time too. When escapees would go to the German embassy in Chile, they would send them back to Colonia Dignidad.
That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, so you want to talk about reparations?
Touching shit.
That was like the fucking painting of Adam for a second.
But yeah, if you're gonna talk about gross negligence, the German government is 100% culpable in many ways, which is why many of the families who in the wake of this have
The Alan Wake?
it's the return. It's not a loop. It's a spiral.
The return of Standiger uncle.
The return of Ständiger Uncle. And I guess, because I'm jumping around a little bit, Ständiger Uncle did return. Like I did say before, he returned in 2005, where they had finally found him in Argentina in a little townhouse. As Robbie did say before in the beginning, he was pretty much decrepit and so frail at that point, like he couldn't run away or anything. So he did spend the rest of his life in jail. He died in 2010. So, while he's gone, dead and buried, rest in piss, his legacy in many ways still is alive. Like I said, the families are still looking for some sort of closure. And, if you watch the documentary on Colonia Dignidad by DW, it's on YouTube. These people, it's heart-wrenching. When you listen to some of these parents talk about their children and how they hope they'll see them again. They don't know if they'll ever see them again, but they've dedicated so much of their lives to trying to enact some justice in their memory. And it's like I said, it's heart-wrenching, but also gives you some hope because, these people, even in the wake of all this tragedy, still tries to see some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. Not to be cliche, but once again, some of these people they lost their children and never saw them again. Some of these people, I think in the DW documentary, I can't recall the man's name, but he talks about his experience burying, being a part of the mass burial of people that died, and the effects that's had on him as he's gotten older. And this wasn't like a colonial who was like complicit. This was a guy that was practically forced at gunpoint, like if you don't do this, you're going to die. I mean, if anyone has done any research on the camps, the things like Auschwitz, they would know those very similar tactics were done there. They would have prisoners beat each other, prisoners torture each other.
Yeah, they would like pick like specific Jews out of the bunch that would become like almost the middlemen between them and the prisoners.
Exactly. Which, also, kind of harkens back to chattel slavery in America as well.
Yep.
House versus the field.
The house versus the field. Exactly. Exactly
what it is.
Exactly. And,
and also it blurs the lines between the victims and the oppressors.
Exactly. And it allows you to abstract yourself from the exchange completely and obscure the whole power balance itself. And it's obviously a method of psychological torture as well. And when you listen to some of these people who have been a part of this, once again, weren't complicit, but were forced, you could really feel it. You could see that on their faces, the pain that they went through and that they're going through to this day. And the answers that they would love to have, but the German government nor the Chilean government, is willing to give. And, I think it's worth mentioning because once again, it's meant to be something to entertain you, to make you really think about like, what the fuck, like Paul Schaefer, this fucking crazy ass pedophile colony. But, there were legitimate repercussions and negative consequences for average people, that are still dealing with it today. And we did mention, I think 2020, 2016, they started to acknowledge negligence, the German government, but 2020 is when they started to actually dish out reparations for people. And the cap is $10,000. That's a spit in the face, for a government that would literally send children back to the place where they were being tortured. This is 2020. This is something that once again we talked about. It started in 1961. This is where
our man Winfried comes in.
Right? Exactly.
Because they sued the German government on I don't want to call it a loophole, but basically it was somewhere in the German legislature that German citizens and their conduct reflects directly on the government, and that German citizens, no matter where they are in the world, must adhere to a certain standard, especially after World War II.
Yes, exactly. And it's a very similar thing that I would say America tries to instill as well. Like if there's an American citizen wherever they are, supposedly we would like them to
not be the ugly American.
Yeah, not be the ugly American, or in the vice versa, or in the contrast of that, where like we have the Invade the Hague Act, where if any
the
of our
the Invade the Hague
Act, yes,
the Hague.
It's when any U.S. soldier, if they're locked up in the international, if they're tried for anything in the International Criminal Court, we have a law on the books that says we can invade the International Criminal Court, invade the Hague, and break them out. That's a law on our books, So it's so kind of what the loophole that they're trying to use is a kind of appeal to a extranational view of a citizen, even outside of their borders, that many countries do use for many different material purposes. In this situation, they're trying to use it as a means to gain restitution for, everything that they've been through. And
does that count for anyone else?
In what way?
Like invade the Hague? Can anyone else do that?
No.
Just us?
Yes.
That's like
that's post 9/11, baby.
We were just like, nah, we called it.
Yeah, it was just like after 9/11.
We call Invade the Hague.
Should have thought of it.
No
Should have thought of
callbacks.
it. Can only be one.
Post 9/11 was some crazy shit, dude. I'm telling you, it was.
That's insane.
We were on one, and we're still on one to this day.
The world was
No gifts and
devastated for
taxis.
decades before, and we're like, oh, something happened to us. We could do anything now.
And we could literally and just proceeded to destabilize the world. I would say is
We're victims now. We're victims.
So if in the case, like in a case where we invade the Hague and break a prisoner out of international prison,
I'm thinking of Jason Bourne style.
if
shit
one
right
of our
now.
soldiers gets killed in the escape, does that mean war?
Is that like a Franz Ferdinand situation?
What
Gavrilo
happens then?
Princip?
See, I think you're putting too much thought into a law that was made by an administration
Going, yeah.
that did everything they could to just find any legal means to like be warmongering assholes. I don't think they ever planned to invade the
Yeah,
Hague.
it's like you're like, sis, if you even come past this line in this room, it's over.
it's over.
Yeah.
But
We
like
should invade the Hague.
that would be insane. Put those goddamn Danish under the boot like they should be. But no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
The truth comes out. Damien
Lars is gonna be
unplugged.
pissed, bro.
You assholes.
I thought we weren't recording.
You got affordable healthcare, affordable housing. Fuck you, bro. Like,
Give
Fuck you.
me that.
Yeah.
You see yourself in the teeth. Fucking jar.
but
Man,
Scheiße.
Nazis.
before we move on from Ständiger Onkel into a more holistic view of the topic, I did want to mention. I did want to mention a few things. One being a passage from the actual American Falconer article, because I do want to drive home once again, you know, the type of man that this was. And I did mention that Colonia Dignidad did start off as a 4,000 acre colony and ended as a 35,000 acre colony. And you would wonder, where did that land come from?
Now it's a ghost town.
Yeah, now it's a ghost town. And you would wonder, like, where
Assume the government.
that, and also, you know, good old fashioned
Lebensraum?
See, exactly, pretty much. Yeah, settler colonial Lebensraum. And I did want to read from
Fucking Germans, man.
Yeah,
Such a
fucking-
good excuse.
It's
We had Manifest Destiny, not bad too, but Lebensraum.
I mean, they got it from us. They were just like, oh, we like that thing you're doing over there. You know, they were just like, maybe you're a little too harsh on the blacks, but
But we don't have any.
but we don't have any, so we don't know.
So we have Jews. We're gonna do that instead.
We'll do that instead. And the Japanese were just like, you know, we don't have any of that, so we'll just do it to Koreans.
but we hate China.
And China.
and
We're
China,
gonna fuck with them.
and we'll fuck with them. Yeah,
They really did do it to Koreans, though.
they're really
Koreans also had a very long slave trade as well, though.
Yes, and also, you know, I would say,
I think Koreans had the most slaves.
They did. They had a big slave trade. They had like one of the largest in history.
but then also they were during World War II. You know, between the Chinese and the Koreans, they were completely immiserated, and
That's true.
they were pretty much looked at as how we looked at indigenous Americans, how Germans looked at Polish. They were the people on the land for the empire, so to
Yeah, the
speak.
Japanese fucked them up.
Definitely. And you know, Paul Schaefer definitely did engage in good old fashioned settler colonialism. And I wanted to read directly from Bruce Falconer.
Just do some
American-
dramatic music.
Torture Colony, Bruce Falconer. In a particular brutal case, Schaefer seized control over a small chapel and several acres of church land that lay adjacent to the Colonia's entrance. The nuns who lived there were determined to stay, but the colonials stole their animals, cut off their water supply, flooded their latrines,
Burned our crops.
fired off guns, and shined bright lights into their windows at night. They beat young children on their way to catechism.
While twiddling their cartoon mustaches.
Yes, twiddling their cartoon.
Mirror.
Surrounded the chapel in barbed wire.
Get out of my way, Junior. I got pillaging to do.
I got pillaged. And they circulated fake videos of nuns participating in orgies with priests.
Wow.
Yes.
That's some mafia shit.
That's
some Russian compromat shit.
Wait, so
Dude,
wait.
Wow.
So they circulated nun porn?
Yes.
On sex tape,
To discredit them,
Dude,
yeah.
that's fucking
They
weird.
circulated un sex
With what
tape?
technology?
All right, dude. We're gonna have sex, but it's like a blackmail thing. So you're gonna wear this nun outfit, and I'm gonna fuck you.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
we're gonna have an
literally, I'm
orgy.
just gonna fuck you right now.
This is pre-Kim K. This is pre-Paris Hilton. This is pre-Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
God damn.
Yes.
Pre-Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Remember he had the whole sex tape.
Hulk
And
Hogan had a sex tape?
He had a sex tape, and then Gawker like showed it or something, and then he sued Gawker, and then Gawker went out of business. Gawker.
I didn't know Hulk Hogan. Yo,
I don't want to say anything more.
let's play that.
I don't want to.
I'm gonna look it up and play it.
He just said my ass, his brother.
And to just wrap up the quote.
I made her come, brother.
Oh
You ever
shit!
seen Squirt, brother?
I'm pretty sure he said the N-word in that video too. I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
I think he did. I think that's what was the main
the
thing.
fact
like,
that he only
some
said it
shit.
once.
That's so fucking.
He said some shit in that video. I could be wrong. I think you gotta clarify that.
Wow, that's 20. It was in 2012.
Yeah, man, it was a while.
Know what
ago.
it is, dude?
Why do you
When
say
you
the
look,
N-word?
when you have the skin of a hot dog, you're invited to the cookout.
It's on IMDb. There's credits on IMDb for this. There's a fucking IMDb file for Hulk Hogan sex tape.
Here are the actors.
Who's Bubba the Love Sponge?
Yes. Yes. All right, this is all coming back.
What's
to me
he
now.
doing? Who is he?
Bubba
He was
the
a radio
Love
host,
Sponge,
right?
dude? I remember this.
What the hell does he do in the movie? What's his role?
in the film?
Thank you for bringing this.
He legally changed his name to Bubba the Love Sponge
Fire.
Clem in 1999.
Clem.
Do you think, do you have to like go to a government building to change your name?
It's pretty easy, apparently.
Wait, he changed his name from Clem.
No, his last name is still Clem.
You think they were like laughing
Bubba
around
the Love
office, like,
Sponge Clem.
Yes.
Get a load of this guy.
Bro, you just got to get rid of Clem. You can't just keep that.
Bubba the Love Sponge.
Your last name is the Love Sponge.
Clem. He was
What's
in
his
Saints
initials?
Row.
No.
He was in Saints Row, the Crunch 106.6 DJ.
Was
That's
he?
fucking hilarious.
Wow. Bubba, man.
Bubba the Love Sponge. Why
User
is the sex
on.
tape on IMDb?
User reviews Big Hulk Y balls. My boy Hulk Y hubby absolutely smashes that married puss, no remorse. Was able to bang out to that bitchin' ringtone while I wiped my kids off my hands on the prelude. 10 out of 10.
Holy shit!
This is on IMDb.
This is fucking awesome. Yeah. Another 10 out of 10. Hulk carrying a chonker cock. One of the nuts I've ever had in my life.
The premier nut. It was a premier nut.
The sploogey coom that came out of my cock-a-doodle-doo was impressive. I even, and this is in parentheses, I even went for a second round. I wish I was the woman sometimes. Disappointed at the lack of Hulkamania is running wild, brother, as Hulk was glazing the walls of the pussy like a Krispy Kreme donut.
Oh my god!
However, that does not drag this amazing piece of film down at all. 10 out of 10. There's one more. I have to read it. 10 out of 10 as well.
Sex tape?
I am unsure how to watch this film. Still got a 10 out of 10. As I stated in the heading to this review, I am struggling to find a source of this film. I am very interested in all things Hulk, Hollywood Hogan, so it has been my goal for a while to find this. If anyone has the film or knows where to find it, please send me an email at cookiescrumbled1@gmail.com. Any help is appreciated. His name is Cameron.
No way. No way. I thought that website was deleted.
It was, dude.
How do you spell it though?
It's not your spelling.
All right.
Dude, it was so you.
STEVE
100%.
PUS.
This is the best comment section ever.
I fucking can't, dude. We have to keep all of that in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Wow.
Bro, what the?
Who brought up the Hulk Hogan sex tape?
Me.
You're getting a fucking Grammy.
Me.
Wow.
You're going right on that
Who else?
IMDb cam.
Okay, so Bubba was the director, and that's all I know.
A sex tape had a director?
Guess he was just filmer. Someone's got to film it.
Bro.
Brother.
He looks a lot like Steve Buscemi. My friend Cameron looks a lot like that actor who did the voice of Randall in Monsters Inc. My friend Cameron, he looks a lot like Steve Buscemi. My friend Cameron looks a lot like the famous actor Steve Buscemi. Please don't tell me, I don't wanna hear it, Cameron. You look just like him.
God.
Oh man.
Back to the show.
Where were we?
Back to business.
He had a good stroke.
He had a good stroke, Jerry. He had a good stroke. He had a good stroke, Jerry. But yeah. I mean, I was just detailing the quote of Schaefer's predilections for settler
How
colonialism.
did we get on Hulk Hogan's sex tape?
Because they were using.
Oh, the
they were
nun
making
orgies.
nun.
The
sex
nun,
tapes.
yes, the nun sect tapes.
It was important. It was prescient.
Yes.
Holy shit.
And I guess one more detail, a little fun detail, if you want to call it that, before we leave Schaefer, and just in 2005 alone, what they uncovered in the compound itself. Once again, from Bruce Falconer. It was in 2005. They found an abundance of weapons. The stockpiles included 92 machine guns, 104 semi-automatic rifles, 18 anti-personnel mines, 18 cluster grenades, 1,893 hand grenades, 67 mortar rounds, 176 kilos of TNT, and an unspecified number of rocket launchers, surface-to-air missiles, and telescopic sights. And also were found German language instruction manuals and large quantities of ammunition.
Does that mean they just had too many rocket launchers to count?
Yeah, right. It seems like between the rocket launchers and the telescopic sights, maybe either the amount was negligible or they were so much that it was like, this is just a lot.
But they counted 1,000 grenades out?
Yeah. And I think we also mentioned last time that they had gun manufacturing facilities there, so there's a good chance that a lot of that was made there, and also they got a lot of that equipment from old World War II stuff. Take a guess where they got that from.
But I was reading another article.
Deutschland.
They were listing all that stuff off, and they also found the rest of Michael Jackson's unreleased catalog.
Oh,
So that's where that went.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You're chilling Colonia Dignidad.
The estate was pissed.
I imagine there's a lot of money that was lost with that. 2005.
Bubbles is gonna starve. Is he still alive? Is Bubbles still alive?
Bubbles?
The monkey.
Oh. No, I think he's dead.
I think he went to not Aaron Carter. I think
Well,
Justin
Aaron
Bieber.
Carter's
I think
dead now,
Justin
too.
Bieber had him. Yeah, that's true. I think Justin Bieber had Bubbles for a little bit.
Bubbles is still alive.
No.
He's a
That's
chimpanzee.
That's one
He outlived
traumatized monkey.
MJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He bought him from
Someone,
a Texas
they weren't
research
giving
facility.
the chimp propofol or propanol or whatever the fuck they had him on.
They drank tea together. Him and Michael Jackson drank tea with the mayor of Osaka, Japan.
That's awesome.
Damn, Bubbles lives a hell of a life.
He eventually became too large and aggressive to be kept.
He's too large and aggressive.
He was relocated.
It's okay, baby.
Relocated to an animal sanctuary in
You're
Florida.
ignorant.
Still lives there in retirement, drinking tea. His upkeep is still paid for by the Jackson estate.
Damn,
man.
He's living.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
He's 40.
He put that 9 to 5.
that
on the
monkey's
shelf.
40 years old.
40 years old. Born in 1983.
How long did chimps live?
I guess when you've got Michael Jackson money.
I think in chimp years, he's probably like in his 80s.
Dude, 40 years old? That's nuts.
A good life for a chimp.
Yeah, considering like the average life expectancy in the 1700s was like 30 years old. A chimp is living longer than that.
They can live up to 50 to 60 years old, but an average is 39 for female, 32 for a male.
Damn.
Good on you, Bubbles. Wonder if you can go visit him.
Do you want to visit him?
I'm just wondering.
What if he's Bubba the Love Sponge?
Bubbles the love sponge.
Bubbles the Love
Bubbles,
Sponge.
Love sponge.
That's his name in his retirement home. Anyway.
So yes,
Driving all around tonight.
yeah, we're all over, baby. But
We gotta revisit Hulk's cock.
that'll be an episode
Strange and
itself.
mysterious.
Maybe for the next Mind Palace we'll talk
Apparently it's
about
a chonky cock.
it probably is.
Chonker cock, I think they
It's above
said.
average, brother.
It looks small for my body type, brother.
Don't let it fool you. That's how you make a porno.
His
brother.
body looks like a fucking aging cow carcass, but his cock looks brand new.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like
It was uncircumcised, brother.
I want to see Jesse Ventura's sex tape.
Who's that?
he was a
You know
wrestler.
Jesse Ventura?
The Baja.
He was
that guy.
the
Baja.
governor of
okay.
what state was he the governor of? I can't remember.
Oh, fuck, I forget.
Arizona.
No,
He went to Cuba too. He's awesome, Jesse Ventura.
He was a wrestler.
he spent a bunch of time
Governor
in
of
the
Minnesota.
Baja.
Oh, I know this guy.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Why
He's
don't
awesome.
you tell me?
You do a good one.
He's
So-
huge. Sorry, go
yeah.
ahead, Damien.
So yeah, as we leave Ständiger Uncle and his bitch ass behind, and wanted to talk a little bit more about some heady stuff, some esoteric stuff, some Nazi fixation on PP.
If you keep shaking this couch, I'm gonna shit my pants. I swear to God, you're jiggling my guts, man.
Whoa.
Hey yo, that episode,
Wow.
dude, it's like that episode of Curb where his fucking car seat vibrates.
It's all that Red Bull Robbie drinks. You just gotta shake it out.
Fucked
It's
up.
a good, a good mix of Red Bull and fucking anxiety.
You should chill on that Red Bull shit. You're gonna die early.
It's fine.
No, it's not.
It's fine.
Energy drinks are terrible for you. All the people, I feel like all the young people that have ever had a heart attack drink energy drinks.
I'll give you an energy drink.
Jesus, getting
Full
sexual
protein.
on that couch over there.
Some Alec Baldwin, Steve Buscemi.
Gotta hire Bubba to film that.
Now that's a sex tape.
When he shoots me, it won't be an accident.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
So Nazi esoteric Nazis.
So Nazi peepees.
Nazi PPs. So yes, there's a fixation on genitals, and
Putting fucking things in holes,
putting things in holes.
like forks in eyes while you're tying your shoes.
Yes. Now
Stupid motherfucker.
I figured out. I actually thought about this a couple days ago, how that could have happened, and I actually. You guys ever be like untying your shoes and you untie it the wrong way and you get that like impossible knot to get out and you're like sitting there trying to get the fucking knot out?
Yeah.
I think he was trying to get the knot out with a fork and he fucking was like going up and then he and he jerked it up into his
How
eye.
do you jerk it up that far?
Dude, you don't realize how
nigga's
bad
stupid.
those knots get?
That nigga's stupid.
I've been late to work off of those knots.
You didn't poke your eye
I'm
out.
sitting
though.
there sweating. And because I'm not going to use a fork, I've heard the cautionary tale.
I've heard the good.
It's not, you know.
Dude.
So many of you have probably heard, maybe, of the Thule Society. It is a
The what? How do you spell that?
Thule.
It's like Thule.
Thule, yeah, like Thule. Thule, but pronounced Tool. It was kind of the beginnings of. It wasn't the first, you know. I think we should be. It would be an error to not, I guess, talk about that the fact that esotericism was prevalent all over Germany in itself, and I would say the idea of superstition and this feeling of wanting to be more connected with your past, this idea of the Volk. I think we talked about it last time, the Brothers Grimm and their quest to kind of formulate this hegemonic German culture, not really in the idea or in the hopes of creating something like the Nazis, but more or less trying to come with a common, once again, German folklore. Many of our fairy tales, like Disney fairy tales, come from that stuff, like Snow White.
Was this like German PR? No, I'm serious. Like, were they trying to separate themselves from the Nazis and be like, this is actually what makes us great German people. Like, here's the real history.
No, that stuff, like I said, this stuff was before the Nazis. You know, this was, I don't know if you could look it up really quick, Greg, but like the Brothers Grimm and their fairy tales, that was before the Nazis. I would say that was late 19th century, and that was in the hopes of kind of creating this common Volk.
It's like a fictional Bible.
Yes,
I mean, the Bible is fictional, but
yes,
in actual, like, this is...
It's like a book full of parables.
Yeah.
What do you want to know about it?
Fuck, what did I want to know about it?
When it was written.
It was written.
It was written.
We should do an episode on the Brothers Grimm.
I thought you were going to say on Nas.
Yeah, I know they have like a fairy tale book, and I just want to like around the time frame, but it was earlier than, you know, the Nazis, but that contributed to this idea of a myth and wanting to harken back to a past that was unadulterated by Judeo-Christian culture.
They published the first volume in 1812.
Yes.
Wow.
So yes, that gives you an idea of how far back this goes and why they were able to, why it was so successful in harkening back to this idea of a Bavarian, Volkish German, you know, that is unadulterated by the Slavs and that was unadulterated by the Jews, you know.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. So once again, and like I said, it's not that anti-Semitism was the basis of this kind of, you know, culture being formed in like the early 19th century, but it is something that is definitely used for material gain by Nazis and has been used. And once again, they get back to the Tool Society. You know, I would say like the best way to look at it as they look at the world, I don't want to say in black and white, but in fantastical ways. You know, I think we talked about a little bit about alchemy last time and John D.
John D.
You know, it's kind of that esoteric headyism where you're looking for alternative methods of science and religion. Because especially, you got to remember, Tool Society was, if I remember correctly, around 1911 to 1920. So you're looking around the World War I era. And you can only imagine the blood orgy that was going on at that time and how people were looking at religion and how it has failed them in many ways. and they were looking for alternatives to Christianity in its current form, as they saw it as perverse, so to speak. But I would also say, just to bring up, because I keep saying this word Judeo-Christianity, do any of you guys know what that means?
Judeo-Christianity?
Yeah.
Jewish
I mean,
Christians.
isn't that's just like monotheism?
Yeah, in many ways. It's
just,
like
just that part of monotheism.
yeah, and like the shared values between religions as they make up Western culture. That's in many ways, like you hear it a lot, like in America, Judeo-Christianity or something like that. It's the, like, while obviously the two religions are separate, they are seen as the two main religions of the Western world in their current iteration. And in many ways, especially as the 20th century got, especially as the 1920s and the 1930s came, people started to look more at institutional Christianity as something akin to Judaism, and sometimes even equated it to communism in many ways. And a lot of that was bundled up in this kind of fear mongering, in a way to, like I said, to gain material power, but also there was a mix of that actual belief there, because once again, these
Weren't the Nazis Protestants though?
Yes, in many ways.
Besides the ones who believed in all the esotericism.
I would say that's a very good point. A lot of people who voted for Nazis, while they weren't like the most popular, and I think it's like they got at most 37% of the vote or whatever, it was mostly middle class Protestant people who voted for the Nazis, right. And it was Catholic. It was Protestant middle class rural people, to be specific.
Right.
Once again, people who have some still intrinsic tie to the land and can feel the messaging of return to Munke, return to the Bavarian valleys. And then the people who voted more for like the Social Democratic or the Communist Party were the workers and the actual Catholic people.
So this is your classic city folk versus country folk.
City folk versus country folk who in many ways have legitimate grievances, but those legitimate grievances get co-opted by what was the burgeoning middle class, so to speak, the burgeoning capitalists, so to speak, the burgeoning industrial capitalists.
This is where the suburbs come in.
It's where the suburbs come in. Exactly. But in many ways, though, for the actual esoteric stuff, that was, once again, it has its origins in the ideas of the Brothers Grimm, and it was used as a genuine tool because I think a lot of these dudes actually believed it. They believed in the mystical aspects of, in itself, the Nazi symbol, the swastika, the ideas of the old black suns, all the iconography that the Nazis utilize. They have this basis in Hinduism and also Buddhism as well. And I think we also talked about last time the idea of reincarnation and something like Buddhism,
Taoism, and
stuff
too.
Yeah, it's weird because you would think that the origins of Nazi esotericism, or is it esotericism or esotericism?
I think it's more esoteric Nazism.
Esoteric Nazism.
Yeah.
You would think that it would have more basis in Norse mythology.
Yes. And it's very very interesting.
For some reason, they take symbols from Hinduism and beliefs from Taoism and kind of intertwine them.
Yes.
Strange.
Where does that come from, though? Like, do they have immigrants from those countries in Germany at some point? Or like, where do they get these beliefs from?
Well, in this, it was one of the articles I showed you guys. This is in Jacobin. It's by it's an interview with Eric Kurlander. The title of the article is "How Mysticism and Pseudoscience Became Central to Nazism." I had to hit the vape real quick. But he talks exactly about what you said. Like, it's weird. Like, he mentions the idea that there was this aspect of the real heady Nazis that took more influence from Greek/Roman, the more Mediterranean side of things, as opposed to the Nordic. You know, like, while there was the idea that you are becoming, you know, more in line with the simple Viking lifestyle, there was also the idea of the superior Aryan race that had its origins within, once again, that Mediterranean aspect of it that was Greco-Roman as well. And a lot of that, you know, it comes from the idea of, you know,
What the fuck is Greco-Roman? Is that like the combination of Greek-Rome?
Yeah, because they were
because the Greeks became Romans.
Yeah,
Alexander the Great founded the Roman Empire.
Is it all fell apart? Right? Is that why?
Well, also because, you know,
they just merged.
Which is also strange because when you think about it, the Germanic tribes destroyed Rome.
Exactly. It's very
What
weird
the fuck?
how they start to use that aspect of the past for their own, and
That's
twist it into their own, like, history themselves, you know. Because like you said, the Germanic tribes were the reasons why the Roman Empire fell. They became Germany, France, so to speak. And then at the end of the day, the Germans themselves, they become, you know, and their ideas of the Volk, you know, start to evolve from, like I said, the more esoteric guys. It evolves from the Nordic aspect and it goes further towards the Greek-Roman. And I would say it's really more the nerds. A lot of, and that's a very reductive term for it, but it's really
true though.
It's the people who have a little bit more time in their hands to really think about it.
Rich
guys, you know, and like I said, it's not to say that like there weren't regular people, you know, poor people or middle class people that, you know, that had affinity for this stuff. But I think one thing that was mentioned in the Jacobin article is that why workers, so to speak, weren't so as susceptible to that kind of propaganda is that in that time frame, you know, a lot of the voting class, you know, it was either you were voting for the Social Democrats or you were voting for the communists. And at that point in time, like, people had a more materialist look on why things were happening and why they were feeling grievances. You know, they had a more direct and objective idea of where the oppression was coming from, as opposed to being like, it's coming from this other ethereal energy that is possessing the Jewish race, you know. And this is why, like,
so they just like long form, like more roundabout way to blame the Jews.
In many ways.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is like after World War II, and they're like, guys, cut it out on that Jew shit. Like, who did they blame then? Who was the scapegoat? Who did they move on to? Is that why they started eating each other, and that's where the Berlin Wall comes from and stuff like that?
I would say the next thing was communists, you know, and that was really the other half of it as well. A lot of times Judaism and communism were used in the same sentence. Judeo-Bolshevism.
Who was in power after Hitler? Directly after Hitler?
That's a great question. I can't remember right now.
Well, they kind of fell into
because they were partitioned, you know.
yeah,
so
they fell into a pretty bad spot, Germany, after World War II.
There was like a civil war, right?
Well, yeah, they were partitioned, and like there wasn't like
not like a civil war.
No, but like the Soviets got part of Berlin.
Yeah. Right. And then America and France got the West, which was really, and then eventually America took it over. But I don't know if you had any information.
Admiral Karl Donitz
was
person. He was his successor, but he was handpicked by Hitler. It's interesting.
How?
See. I mean,
I guess he was picked in advance.
The NATO command, the first NATO commander was a Nazi. I think that's, just a little tangent there. If you want to ask, how did a guy appointed by Hitler become the leader of the newly formed West Germany? Well, a Nazi was the first NATO commander. So, I think what you should learn from these two episodes is that we're real chummy with the Nazis. We say we executed all of them. We did not. They're still out there. And it's arguably still going on now.
There might be one in this room.
right now.
Look to your left. Look to your right.
And yeah, it's pervasive now, and it was definitely pervasive back then, especially, when you're trying to divert attention from the actual objective cause of your grievances. It's easier to use these spiritual elements of your psyche, because especially after World War I, you always have to remember that Germany took the L. They started a war. They lost the war. And
They
then,
didn't start. I mean,
they kind of started that war. I mean,
Blitzkrieg started that war.
not every World War One. World War
It
One.
was our man.
World War
It was our
One.
man Gavrilo Princip, bro.
Yeah,
killed the
that
Archduke.
was.
World War One is a little more complicated, but at the end of the day,
But
German
the start
workers,
of it wasn't complicated. It was
was
because
he
of the
from?
assassination
He
of
was
Archduke
Turkish, right?
Franz Ferdinand.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously that was a part of it, but
No, that was the reason the whole thing started. He got killed, and then it was the alliances that started the war. It was like Germany's like, we're on Hungary's side, and then
it was more complicated in that while Franz Ferdinand was the final straw that broke the camel's back, it was something that was already in the process of being, like, the German workers were already beginning to vote on this as like, yeah, we need to start this war. The Franz Ferdinand assassination didn't help, but it was already something that was
the spark.
It was
It was
basically it was basically the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that was-
And I guess just a tangent a little bit, like there was this hope in World War One or before World War One that instead of going to war, the workers of all, the socialist and communist parties of France, Britain, and Germany would vote against the war itself. And, that would be pretty much the point where, like, okay, this is where a revolution would happen. That did not happen. Germany voted to go to war. Once again, they took that L. They weren't Nazis yet. The Nazis came with the Free Corps and whatnot. And once again, a brutalized people that just witnessed a blood orgy and, lost a war, and also is now, being completely crippled economically in every way. They were very, very susceptible to any sort of answer as to why this is happening.
Damn, dude. I feel like it's the perfect example of white privilege. If any other country with brown people tried to pull the shit that Germany pulled, they wouldn't even be a country anymore. It's amazing that there's like the players in the world stage that they are to this day after all the shit that they've pulled.
They are
That's crazy.
They're the backbone of the European Union to this
fucking
day.
Pipelines.
They are the economic power, and if there was a leader, they are the leader of the European Union. So even after everything, they are still the economic powerhouse and the industrial.
Imagine if they won.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine if they won. And many people would say maybe they did.
They didn't even get a nuke.
They didn't.
That's crazy.
But as we've talked a little bit about today, or in the last episode as well, some cases maybe they did win. A lot of them got integrated back into society. Some integrated into the new civilian/military governments themselves. And, we pretty much utilized many Nazis to wage warfare on indigenous people all across South America and Southeast Asia.
They're like Henry Hill at the end of Goodfellas. Uns noodles and marinara sauce.
But yeah, in many ways it didn't. They won in many ways. While Germany, the Reich fell in its corporeal form. In many ways, its ideas for a militarized, imperialist outlook on the world it came to fruition in many ways with what we did in the Cold War. They call it a Cold War, but as we discussed with Chile, a lot of people fucking died brutally. It didn't happen here. You didn't see it. Your parents didn't see it.
Not in my backyard.
It didn't happen in our backyard, but we killed a lot of farmers and a lot of brown people. So in many ways, it never ended, and the Reich never fell. If you want to really get pedantic about it, and a lot of the esotericism, survived even past that, and I would say was bolstered even after that, because when your idea of your society is based off this vision of the superiority of yourself and the destiny that you have to, whether it be land or technology or power, if you lose like that, how do you reconceptualize that? You take what you already have in terms of your mystical or spiritual outlook on the world, which already wasn't based in anything material. It was based off the astral plane, or like, I guess the better way, I can't remember which one it was, Plato or can't remember the other Aristotle. Which one was down and below? There's that picture. Socrates. One of the motherfuckers pointed up. One of them niggas pointed below. Whoever was pointing up, the Nazis fucked with him. They were just like,
I think it was Socrates.
Socrates was like the main man. He was like Plato and Aristotle were like his.
Yes. But he had the idea of the theory of forms. I think that was Socrates. I can't remember.
Are you talking like the parable of the cave and stuff like that?
Stuff like that.
That was Plato.
That was Plato.
Yeah.
But also one of them, like I said, had this idea that the forms we have now are projections, and holograms, or like there is a higher plane that we need to adhere to, because the ones we inhabit now have little bearing, or in itself is an illusion.
It's a representation of a higher truth.
Yeah, which in many ways was used as a justification of the mass slaughter that they engaged in.
It's almost like nihilism.
In many ways, because once again, you're looking for alternatives to religion. You don't really.
It doesn't matter here, or it matters elsewhere, and this is just like what you see, millions of lives being lost, but it's actually a manifestation of a greater truth coming to light and correcting the universe in a way.
Yes, and especially
this is collateral damage.
It's collateral damage, and especially when you have this ideology that, like you said, it has subterranean meaning, where there's bodies behind this. There are, not only does it have spiritual meaning, but now there is material meaning, as there is an actual, once again, subterranean, and the idea of hollow earth, or the crystal, whatever the fuck, I think crystal earth or ice world, whatever. They believe in a lot of crazy shit.
Admiral Byrd.
Yeah.
Unswata world.
Unswata world.
His mustache is working, man.
Yes.
I tell you, I want to set this basement on fire just to watch you put it out. Wow. Right? Isn't this mustache working for it?
I agree.
I said before, he looks like Freddie Mercury, but only 3/5 of him.
See, I don't know where these are coming from. I mean, he has the racism just bursting.
We're talking about Nazis.
It's like, my people are under attack.
Hurt people,
He has
man.
to defend himself.
I think we talked about last time too with the idea of Odin being Wotan. You know, like after they lost the war a second time, another big L.
Dead in the middle of Little Italy.
Yeah, he was dead in the middle of Little Italy, or they believed he wasn't, or they believed some of them that they were communing with him on the astral plane.
Hitler's alive.
Yeah, so
He's
once
an
again, you know, these people definitely had a pretty fucked up view of the world. You know, even during the height of their power, they were looking for things like the Holy Grail and Santa Claus.
Really? Like they were diverting government funds to find
Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
Santa Claus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
Was this? Do you think that a lot of were there a lot of them on drugs?
It sounds like a front.
I think
Were most of them on drugs?
I think most of them were on drugs, and most of them were really just high on their own supply when it came to the actual mysticism stuff.
Wait, the Nazis invented Santa Claus?
No. They were looking for Santa Claus.
Okay.
but I think he
Claus.
was.
Santa Claus is German. Claus.
Christmas is
Holy
like
shit.
a German pagan holiday. It has its
So
origins in pagan.
I thought it had its
beliefs.
origins in like Rome.
No, it was taken over by the Roman Catholic Church when they were going like full crusade. They were like, "Oh, we have to convince all the pagans that these are our holidays as well,
Yeah,
to incorporate them into our society."
exactly. Yeah,
But Christmas was originally a pagan holiday, just like Easter, just like every other Christian holiday.
yeah.
Oh wait, how would it start? Oh, wait a second. Wasn't Jesus
Feast days,
around during
every
the time
feast
of
day.
Rome?
You know feast days? You know what feast days are?
Feast
No.
days.
They're days that Christians or Catholics celebrate that have to do with the saints.
Yes.
And the reason that we have those is because every one of those days was a feast day for a pagan god or something of the sorts, and we had to change it to Christianity.
Yes. It's
It's crazy.
there's a video game for the gamers out there and readers called Pentiment. It deals with this old Bavarian village, like a murder mystery within the Bavarian village, and a lot of statues in that village. You know, it looks like it's like German, like, you know, real like Roman stuff, but then they like realize that it's like goes even further back, or like they realize that it was like statues that were incorporated into German folklore. And it kind of gives you the idea that, yeah, like as these conquering empires come along, they just incorporate this culture into them, just so there's some way, some carrot for people to actually come along with this project of like any sort of state. Because if you don't have any carrot, you know, if you're not letting them have any of their traditions, then, you know, you may call it something different in your capital. You know, the statue may mean something different for you, you know, within the imperial walls, but for these people, it still is fucking Jupiter. When
you
it's
think
like
about it.
Zeus for you, or whatever the fuck they called it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when
Or
you
Odin.
think about it, it's like really like the first case of actual cultural appropriation.
In many ways, yeah.
Weird.
You know? But it's then also
It's
that
almost like rebranding.
it is.
It's basically that, yeah.
And the acknowledgement that like you have
Considering
to give.
Catholicism and Christianity, it's a business.
New management in.
It's a money-making idea is basically what it was.
And then that implicit understanding that you still need to have the people to go along with this. And if you need to have something there for them to feel like they have a stake in the game.
It's the whole basis of religion, organized religion, is that
Yeah.
there's no religion without the populace. You need to have followers for a religion to work. So that's the whole idea behind it, is like, we need to convert these people. That's why conversion is such a big thing in Christianity.
Yes. And also, one of the main reasons why I would say that, many Nazis look to alternative means to spirituality, because they looked at institutionalized religion rightfully so, but I think, if you look at anything a Nazi says, like it's things an idiot can tell you, but they're spinning it in a way that benefits them. That, yeah, of course, institutionalized religion is no longer, what it always made itself out to be, but it really never was, and, the myth that you're hearkening back to never existed. But I would say the idea of going towards more polytheistic religions that give them more of a feel of the polytheistic pagan religions of Nordic culture, things, like I said, in Hinduism or Buddhism,
Buddhism. Worship of the booty.
Worship of that booty, baby. I made it.
Was there like a clash between
so
these
good.
beliefs, or like it seems like the way that we speak about it, that it was kind of just like effortlessly rolled into the culture that already existed because I guess the Nazis legitimized it in a way?
I would say, there was this point in time where they kind of instigated that the Nazis were kind of cracking down on like more heady mystical stuff or spiritual stuff. But it was more
Publicly,
but it was more in terms of sectarian issues, in terms of, and what I mean by that, competing power structures within a state. Some people, some sects of
like, do they have like witch trials and stuff like that, or?
Well, definitely, there's
Eventually.
probably in like the German countryside, and like during the war itself, who knows the things that happened.
I think the biggest witch trials were in France.
Like during
England.
like the war, like during
Not
the
like
30s?
during the war, but like during like the 1700s, like colonial times.
Oh yes. But in terms of like the actual like German people, like during that time, like the 30s and the 40s, 100%, and
Well, the witch hunts were the Jews.
like the pogroms, yeah. And once again, you incorporate Judeo-Christianity, they're all the same thing, and you bundle that in with Bolshevism, and then you got this nice little package that you can hand out to people to motivate them, and it gives them a stake in the game, because not only are you endangering their spiritual safety, their guarantee into heaven, so to speak, but you're now also giving them a reason as to why their lives were shitty, as to why the war was lost. It's because of the socialists. As to why their country is fucked up. It's because the socialists sold us out. And because the Jews.
Subtext.
The subtext, the Jews.
It was the socialists
and
and the Jews.
the Jews, but but once again, they were interchangeable at that time. You couldn't do that after. Yeah, you couldn't do that after World War II.
I need water.
Be dusty.
Gronk thirsty.
But yes, like I said, even then, especially after Hitler died, these things didn't go away. If anything, they were amplified. And I think, in a future episode, future series, we'll talk a little bit more about Operation Gladio, and specifically Gladio! And the Italian fascists. And the Italian fascists, they were missing that oomph that the Japanese and the Nazis had. They weren't really so focused on state building.
They were lost in the sauce.
They were lost in the sauce in many ways, and there was a lot of interesting. Stefano Della Chai, he was a very interesting guy. Some of these people, like I said, thought they were communing with Hitler.
That's why
on
the
astral
mafia
plane.
got so big, because the Italian fascists didn't know how to dress. The mafia's like, we'll show you how it's done.
That's exactly how that works.
And also
The
they
best
have
dressed always wins.
and the mob, they don't like trade unions, and nor do the fascists. Your ideals align, and the ideals align in many ways.
So it's kind of like the cartel in South America.
And exactly. Because it all, at the end of the day, it's why, conservative religious forces also ally with fascists, because
This is if you can't beat them, join them.
and you also have very similar ideas on the way the world should work. You maybe like the specific details of who's at fault or why, maybe that's all like, hazy, but for the most part, your ideas on land and who should be controlling resources, that's all kind of kosher. Well,
And they hated that.
maybe not kosher.
Who blessed this land?
But yeah. Just, to give you guys an idea of, the kind of ideology that sprung up out of Nazism, while it did have a material basis coming from being totally destroyed after World War I and emaciated as a population, combined with not having an answer and then being provided the convenient answer. I think the best way to provide some familiarity to it is to put into context how people get radicalized in the Middle East, or how people get radicalized in Palestine. And not to compare these people to Nazis at all, but to give you the idea of how someone can fall into a radicalized and sometimes violent and conservative way of thinking. When there is hatred in your heart,
It's extremism.
and a lot of times legitimate grievances, when not met with the right answers, they can be co-opted very easily.
Those feelings don't go away.
Those feelings don't go away.
It's like a person. If they don't have like the right outlet and they're angry, they take it out on the people closest to them or
exactly
around them.
And then if
It's
you're,
not that different.
it's not that different.
Hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people. And when you're trained to just, look out and down, and not really up, it's a lot easier to blame those around you or those who are otherized than you. And then once again, when you're in a time of organized religion being smashed to the point of really no coming back, Nietzsche was also deployed in many ways by his Nazi sister, to kind of use the idea of a Ubermensch and the idea of God being dead and what comes after God being dead and what is an Ubermensch. And many times that was used by people, in the Tool Society, in the Nazi Party, as another ideological and, I guess, scholaristic justification. I doubt that's really a word.
Was Ubermensch beyond good and evil?
Scholarific.
Was that beyond good and evil?
I believe so. It was either Ubermensch was there, or the idea of the slave and master mentality.
It's the slave and master. I believe. Dude, Nietzsche's writing
Confusing.
is the ramblings of a madman.
Yeah,
And it's so hard to get through. Like, I tried reading Beyond Good and Evil in high school.
Oh, that's a Nietzsche book. I was thinking of
Hard to read.
yeah. I mean, I don't
Especially
really
because it's translated from German, too.
Yeah, and also, depending on the ones you get, hopefully you didn't get the one translated by his Nazi sister, because she definitely tried to make him to be a rabid Nazi like she was in her translations.
my
I stole it. I
rabid
don't know.
Nazi
I don't know.
sister.
It's the old one.
It's the old one.
It might be.
But regardless of the translations, I don't really agree with a lot of what Nietzsche says, whatever. But, one thing he did, have, at least he was thinking in the right direction, was the idea of God being dead and what comes after that. He didn't have an answer for it. Drove him fucking crazy.
It's like postmodernism.
Postmodernism, and also like, idea of God is not dead. Organized religion is still around, but is no longer the center of everything. And the Nazis were trying to figure out what comes after that. And they landed on a lot of weird shit.
The internet. That's what
Lots of
comes
cocaine.
next.
Lots of cocaine. They thought they were communing with Hitler. They thought he was Odin. It was a lot. It was a lot. And we're definitely gonna devote another full. I think we should devote an episode on like that kind of shit in general. You know, Peter Levende has a great book, Unholy Alliance, that goes a lot more into detail, way more eloquently than we could ever hope to do. And I definitely recommend reading that book, or at least looking into it, because it goes a little bit more into the idea of how mysticism was incorporated into this blood and soil war machine, you know, that had material impact on the world around it. But it was fucked up, folks. It was fucked up. Nazis are fucked up. They're fucked up.
Lots of fucked up shit.
Yes. But before we wrap up Paul Schaefer, Nazis in general, I know in the last episode I did talk about, you know, the historical precedent that was laid out, you know, during World War I and the concentration camps and the treatment of prisoners there, and how it was further utilized, so to speak, and Colonial Dignidad and in the Vietnam War in the Phoenix program, and also in Iraq and Abu Ghraib. In 2004, there was a report that was released in tandem. Seymour Hersh, I don't know if you should know him. If you don't know him,
Shame on you.
Shame on you. But but yeah, he recently talked about, he recently released the report that the pipeline that was bombed, the Russian oil pipeline that was bombed, was actually done by not done by Russian. It was done by like Western intelligence services and whatnot.
Didn't Trump say that too?
Yeah, he like implied it.
Trump implied.
Yeah.
He was like, "We know who blew up the pipeline, and it wasn't Russia."
Yeah, he revealed the My Lai massacre of that happened in Vietnam. He has done a lot of great work, and he.
I thought we were talking about Trump for a second.
No, definitely not.
Then you said,
I don't
great-
know,
you said
man. The
great
Trump
work,
board game's pretty fun.
and I was like, oh.
But no, definitely not talking about Trump. But
Talking about Trump.
in 2004, he in tandem with a General Taguba. General Taguba? You might want to look that up. I can't remember his first name right now.
General Tagupa.
But they call it the Taguba Report.
Sounds like a cartoon.
In tandem with Seymour Hersh, they released this to, I think it was the Post, the New Yorker. It was the New Yorker.
Antonio Taguba.
He pretty much blew the whistle on what was happening in Abu Ghraib, and I think we talked a little bit about it last time. But there are plenty of documentation out there on the atrocities that occurred there. On Iraqi citizens, and we're not talking about prisoners of war. Not everyone there was a prisoner. Not everyone there was an enemy combatant. Some people were taken there, and they have stories of being there, and they, similar to the survivors of Colonia Dignidad, they're still living with the horrors that they were succumbed to, and the abuses and torture. There was sexual abuse. There was psychological torture. There is from the Taguba report itself, there are descriptions of, prisoners being told to strip naked, to lie on top of each other and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And there's descriptions of people being forced to like rape each other. There are descriptions of prisoners being forced to beat other prisoners. There's there's evidence, and there are people that saw, like I said, people being tortured with like electrocution, like electroshock therapy, also very similar. If you look up any pictures of Abu Ghraib and any of the prisoners, they're all black bagged. You know, it looks like something out of like a horror movie, to be honest.
Looks like the fucking Poughkeepsie tapes.
It really looks fucking insane, especially when you look at
It's
all
almost
these
like Silent Hill, like
the way if you look at how they look, it dead ass looks like something out of like a Silent Hill.
It looks like something you'll find on like the X boards, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the way that the garments that they give them as well, like it looks very, very eerie. I recommend the listeners, take the time to look more into Abu Ghraib.
they perfected dehumanization.
Yes, which was once again, originated in tactics in concentration camps. We utilized in Vietnam. They were utilized in Colonia Dignidad, and they were perfected surgically in Iraq. To the point, and like I said, you can look at these pictures, and it's not even like it's. Honestly, you look at the people who's in the pictures, the American soldiers, they have smiles on their faces and they're posing with prisoners who are just completely emaciated or dead. It's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying, and it's something that you would only expect the Nazis to do. It's something that you would be like, oh, that's some shit that is so far behind us, like we would never do anything like that. Like, but no, we did it. And it happened when you were probably in first grade, second grade.
Yeah, man. I think when we took those scientists during Paperclip, we took a lot of the shit that we found that worked from the Nazis.
We didn't let the data go to waste, for sure.
Yeah, we didn't let the data go to waste.
Because they had torture methods that worked. They had programs that supposedly worked. We use their symbolism. We use their fucking, like, the MK Ultra was basically like a copy of the Monarch Project, which was a Nazi project.
And they also used a lot of the suffering of the victims in the concentration camps, and also like things like Unit 731, the Japanese.
That shit was fucked up.
A lot of that stuff got incorporated into like medical textbooks because there was a lot of unprecedented, unethical access to human bodies and experimentation in ways that, like, at least we could take something from it going forward to help.
I don't think those
people
alive
alive today.
prosecuted 731.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
No.
No one was really prosecuted in
And they were too busy
either.
worrying about like the Nazis.
No,
getting
well, of course not.
prosecuted.
Yeah.
That's a given.
But
And then also there was a level of sympathy for the Japanese after they got 2 atomic bombs dropped on them. So I don't think that.
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, we had to take that L. Yeah, just like, you vaporized your country.
Also, like, vaporized a mostly Catholic or Christian city.
Yeah, which is also
Like-
very interesting. Think
Like,
about
people that weren't even involved at all.
at all. I mean, well,
We
you know,
just
it's literally a tool that was used to just kill civilians.
Well, that's part of the reason they dropped them on those cities is because they had to do the math and be like, well, we can't do these. And forget, like, you saw an Oppenheimer in the movie, but it's also just like, it has to be a message, but the message can't be too strong because then that furthers the war, you know? Like, if you do it on a capital city, they might just get angrier.
I mean, honestly, we bombed the shit out of them. I don't know. I don't know if it mattered if it was a capital city or
I'm
not.
saying it matters in terms of, does this end
Yeah.
the war now or does this fuel the fire?
Yeah. No, I feel you. I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's just, I don't know if it matters if it's a capital or not. Like,
I think it does. It's like the difference between like firing a bullet in the air and like actually getting hit by a bullet. I'm not saying that the Japanese didn't care about those cities, but like
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, before they got bombed, they were relatively unknown Japanese cities.
Yeah, I guess in the scheme of things. I mean, well, realistically, if you remember, they were going to bomb Kyoto, but one of the people
Like a vacation there with my wife.
yeah, you vacationed there. So a lot of this came down to just arbitrary, decisions.
Well, that's also a movie, but they also he said that, but really the what they were trying to express was that it was a cultural center, and that it would do maybe too much damage to the Japanese instead of just trying to prove a point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there's definitely that aspect to it as well, 100%.
Killed a lot of people to fucking demonstrate.
Yeah, it was absolutely barbaric, but and we have continued to do barbaric things ever since then. You know, in Abu Ghraib, it was in 2004. It was always a political prison that was used by Saddam Hussein. It was always known for its horrific shit that happened there. But we, instead of closing it down, we decided to repurpose it, you know, and use it, just keep using it for what it was always used for. So yeah, just, you know, the idea of, you know, something happening in a vacuum, or like the idea that like this is in our past and like we've moved past this. Not at all, you know, especially when you look at what's happening in Ukraine and you see these motherfuckers with the fucking black sun patches on their shoulder. You know, this shit's still alive and well, you know. Tactics are still alive and well.
That war is also in part based on, you know, Russia or Putin saying that they're Nazi sympathizers.
Yeah, which is funny because, you know, Russia's damn near fascist. You know, I mean, they're a very conservative country at this point in time. Very homophobic, very tight on speech. You know, like I said, not great. So it's very funny when you have like the kettle calling the pot black. Bless you. You know, it's like the Spider-Man meme, just kind of pointing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ideology is still alive and well. You know, once again, it has this subterranean value where it's no longer a just mystical idea of something higher in the astral plane. There's blood and soil behind this, and it's this idea that you are fighting a global conflict, not only on a terrestrial scale, but on a spiritual front as well. It's a spiritual war, and this is why it's such a popular.
Starting to sound like Brad Pitt a little.
I mean, this is why it's such a popular ideology. It's why
the Great Depression is our lives.
But yeah, you know, it just, and then, you know, just to top it off, you know, just a little tangent. I doubt really anyone pays that much attention to Argentinian politics, but the new president, Javier Milei, he was elected recently. And as you know, maybe you don't know it because you're American, geography probably sucks. Argentina is right near Chile. It's literally adjacent to it. Everything that we talked about last time with Operation Condor, they were just as affected, and just as the government in itself was just as complicit. The politics there is a little more complicated than Chile. Peronism, whole other can of worms. But at the end of the day, though, there was something in the news recently where he appointed a former neo-Nazi to be a Solicitor General, a neo-Nazi that was forced to resign because of his Nazi affiliations. And I was reading up on him today about his shock therapy that he's been engaging in Argentina, and he's just been devaluing their currency. He's been cutting he's been totally axing public institutions, cutting funding in any sort of social safety nets. It's very similar to what had happened in Chile in the 1970s under Pinochet. And
Pinochet, bro.
I'm fucking dead. Weren't there Nazi colonies in Argentina too?
Yeah, I mean, they were all over the place, you know, especially the Southern Cone. It looked so much like Bavaria.
And Brazil.
And Brazil. I mean, Brazil is pretty much Brazil. That's a lot. That's a lot right there.
Brazil.
That's a lot right there. But
Brazil. I want to go to Brazil.
But yeah, Javier Milei, and what he's been doing to his country, is similar to what was the ultimate goal during the 70s. It was to kind of this wholesale of a country's capacity to operate for its citizenry, and
The Volk.
the Volk. I don't know if they saw themselves as the Volk, but yes.
No, that's what Volk just means folk.
Yeah,
The
I
people.
know. Yeah.
The people.
The people. But yeah, and I wanted to bring up
That's some
Javier.
Yeah, the people.
'Cause he's been saying, he's like, oh, I want to convert to Judaism. But then appoints this Nazi guy.
And the rest of the country is like, I don't want to be anything other than what I've been trying to be lately.
I
Wish you would step back from that ledge,
My peace of mind.
So yeah. If you in passing hear about a neo-Nazi being elected to Solicitor General in Argentina, you have some idea why that could even happen in 2023.
You heard it here first, folks.
You heard it here first, folks. These things, they have historical precedent very much on your lives today. And another thing, the whole Patriot Act that just got revised recently, that makes it easier for our government to surveil us. That also had its origins in the Vietnam War, but also its method of control and surveillance was something that was utilized in the countryside in Chile to capture people for Colonia Dignidad. So in many ways, like what the current information regime that we're living under now has its roots in something that was used to torture and maim people in the name of anti-communism and in the name of, blood and soil.
The Son, the Holy Spirit.
In the Father and the Holy Spirit. So things that are affecting you today, what your information is being used for today, and how your identity and your likeness is being used for profit today. In many ways, it's the tools that are being used were created and perfected during these times of political repression. And another little fun fact, the Black Lives Matter protests that happened not only during COVID, but during Obama's presidency. In many ways, the tactics that were used to surveil those people also have similarities. There is a couple protesters that for some reason wound up dead in burning vehicles after some protest leaders.
Like car bombs.
Car bombs. Advise some of you guys to look that up as well. Some weird ass shit, It's a lot of, at the end of the day, what's happening to us today, it has origins somewhere. This isn't something that was cooked up in a back room randomly by some guy. This is something that's been going on for years.
Echoes of the past.
Echoes of the past, so to speak, and may have not been born out of that. The ultimate utility that it has today, it wasn't. They weren't planning on using this mass surveillance tool, back in Vietnam. It wasn't planned to have it be used in America, when they were capturing and assassinating Viet Cong. But the tools and the method of that surveillance and data collection, echoes of that are still here today, and it has effect on you right now. You may not be feeling it, but it's there. And when you think about your data and where that's going, your privacy and the degradation of any rights you have to any of those things.
Privacy for our European listeners.
Privacy. You should have an idea now of where that comes from, And I guess another little tangent before we go, because I know everyone's tired. Just to cap it off again, we try to tie it up historically with the origins and, where these things are coming from and how they affect you today. But I think it's also important to mention that, during that time in Chile, there was huge copper deposits. And we also just talked about, things like the Patriot Act and Operation Phoenix during the Vietnam War, and the proliferation of computer technologies and how they're used in warfare and information gathering. Copper was a huge base resource in the circuitry that was used in a lot of these computers that were going to be used for the next generation.
And gold.
So the political repression that was happening, at the end of the day, like this pedophilic colony existed, but it was only allowed to keep going because it was a useful tool for the government in power to repress any sort of, I guess, differing opinion on where the productive forces should be going. Instead of the copper deposits being used for growing your country like everyone else has done, now they're going to be used to, cheap resources for Americans to have like affordable cars and affordable computers.
Cobalt mines.
In cobalt mines, as opposed to that country being able to be successful.
Shout out to Elon.
Yeah, we're going to have cheap products and you're going to live in immiserated conditions, and then we're going to point and stare at you and wonder, why are you so poor when we have all the cheap stuff?
Why are you pouring yourself?
Why are you pouring yourself? So I think that's a very important thing to realize, and it'd be remiss to not acknowledge that at the end of the day, after all of the senseless murder, torture, and abuse, this was done for resources and control of resources and who has say on where those resources are going. And it's pretty brutal, the things that we can do to each other when it's something as mundane as copper and who has control over where that copper is going to go.
It's true. I mean, that's basically the reason that the cobalt mines are still allowed to exist without regulation.
Yeah.
Artisanal mining and all that shit.
Exactly.
It's fucking crazy, bro. You
today,
got thousands of people, thousands of kids just digging for cobalt with their hands.
Yeah, the new proliferation of electric vehicles and all of our phones and the electrical
computers, GPUs.
Exactly. All of that stuff today, it's going behind, it's going over your head. You're not really thinking about the intricate details of where these resources are coming from and how they're incorporated into your life, but they have material impact on the countries where these resources are coming from. And like Robbie said, things like the cobalt mines, that is the modern day, like copper, where it is one of the main important ingredients in every single thing that you have in your household. It's almost like petroleum back in the day, which still is really important, but like I said, everything is made out of this. So you can understand anything is going to be done to make sure that the resources that are necessary for, the fucking the gnashing maw that is the American country. We consume everything that China makes. We consume. You need to have security over the things that's gonna make the things that we're gonna fucking consume. If you don't have control over that, then we can't have our goods. We can't have our cheap TVs. We can't have our PlayStation 5s and our stupid fucking iPhones. So yeah.
But we love them.
But we love them, folks. Don't we, folks? We love those iPhones. Don't we?
Get the new one.
Get the new one. I love you.
It has a USB-C port.
Finally, folks, we're all one. USB-C, you can share your chargers. Yes.
We got USB A through Z, baby.
Hit that vape, baby.
What you talking about? This one?
I'm talking about that one.
This one?
I'm talking about that one.
I think it's only right that Cam takes us out with a song.
It's not gonna be a song.
It's not gonna be a song. It's me spoken word tonight.
Spoken
Oh, that's
word.
right.
We
We
have
need
a
bongos.
bass.
we just need you guys to snap.
What's the basis?
You guys are gonna get.
Think of Audrey's wall.
I don't even need auto tune for this.
You guys are gonna get close up in there. Not too close.
Be real cool about it. Be real cool. Two. 1, 2, 3, 4. Folks, wooden ceiling, glass ceiling. Women struggle. We men huddle. Brown carpet, carpet. No pets in the car. Rottweiler, German Shepherd. Nazis do not see
Fingers hurt now.
how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. 6 licks too little, 10 million licks too much. The truth lies somewhere in between. The government lies to its people. Chick-fil-A denies the gays.
My rhythm section is fucked.
Dirty
Oh, snap.
rhythm out,
Snap. Snap. There
snaps
you go.
off. 50% off the American dream. Rent prices obscene.
Fuck.
Damien's blue shoes don't cover up his blues. Rights denied, right, left, up, down. Third circle of hell. TikTok. Instagram shorts. Shorter lifespans. Processed foods.
I can't snap no more.
Undigest feelings.
Snap. 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 Snap.
We're biding our time
Snap.
with Joe Biden.
Biden. Snap. Snap.
Who
Snap.
will be trumped?
Snap. Snap.
Will America be
Snap.
dumped?
Snap. Snap. Snap.
High interest rates.
Snap. Snap. Snap.
Undetermined fate.
Snap. Snap. Snap.
These four walls.
Snap. Snap. Snap.
White
Snap.
brick.
Snap.
Hard knock life.
Snap. Snap. Snap.
We live in strife. Paul Schaefer, I hardly knew her. One eye out. Eye watching us all. Big brother, here's the call. Big brother, survivor, network television. Network across the globe. Copper mines. Gold nodes. Old toads. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
Beautiful.
That's great, Cameron.
I should sign up for something.
We should put that all in auto tune.
No.
Please put that in auto tune.
Can you after the fact? Can you auto tune their snaps? Because they were terrible.
Pretty bad.
And they
Very
say the
disappointed.
Jews have no rhythm.
I never
they
said
say
the
that?
Jews have no rhythm.
I don't know if people say that.
I don't know if they say that.
I have rhythm. I just can't snap for that long.
My fingies are hurting.
I work on a computer all day. My fingers hurt. My fingies, dude. Give me the vape. Give me the fucking vape. If you can't snap, you can't vape. Vape is for closers.
So we're gonna be taking a little bit of a break after this episode
Tell them why.
because I'm having a baby.
He's pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
We're pregnant. The podcast is pregnant.
The whole podcast is pregnant, and
We're gonna have a
we're gonna
good
come
old-
back with some new shit, some new logo.
Oh, we're
video.
Changing the logo?
I think so. I think that's what Greg said.
But we spent money on it.
We did spend money on it, and now we're gonna spend more money on it.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna try and come back with a better show for you guys. We've had fun making these last 6 episodes, and we're gonna try and continue. And I hope you all enjoy the journey of the creation of reality resin
And Robbie's child.
and my child,
And we've all decided to go back to college.
my prodigal daughter.
We're taking classes.
We're going to podcast college.
Yeah.
Getting my journalist degree.
Going to college. Taking
Podcast.
classes on
Adam Carolla.
podcast. All right. Well, have a happy Christmas, happy holidays,
Hubba.
hubba New Year,
Merry stolen pagan holiday.
and if you can find Hulk Hogan's sex tape,
Please
please email Cameron.
at cookiescrumble1 at gmail.com.
SteveBuscemi.gov.
Please email Cameron pictures
money.
of Hulk's chonky cock.
Chonker cocker.
Chonker cock.
Chunky cock. Pete Rock reminisce.
Reminisce.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Bye.